For years, we've had this idea of technology as a tool, something that businesses use. But what if that's completely backwards? What if it's become the very environment we all live inside? Today, we're going to explore this massive shift in how we need to think about and govern the real infrastructure of our digital world. You've heard the buzzword a million times, right? For, more than 20 years, digital transformation was the mantra in every single boardroom. Companies were pouring billions into digitizing absolutely everything they could, moving to the cloud, updating their systems, and the goals seemed pretty straightforward. Be more efficient, innovate faster, serve customers better. But here's the thing. Underneath that huge wave of change, something way more profound was happening. As everyone was so focused on transforming, were we all kind of missing the bigger picture? What was the true nature of this massive system we were all building together? So, to really answer that, we've got to move past this whole idea of transformation. We're not just tweaking existing systems anymore. Nope. We've actually built an entirely new kind of infrastructure. It's time to reframe the whole conversation. What we've ended up with is the digital backbone. And this is not just a collection of apps or software tools. It's the integrated structural foundation of our entire modern economy. It's the data, the cloud, the networks, and the AI that glues it all together. To really get the scale of this, you've got to think back in history. Think about railways or electricity. They didn't just create a few new products. They completely rewired society and the economy from the ground up. Well, the digital backbone is doing that exact same thing today for finance, healthcare, manufacturing, literally everything. Okay, so what is this new digital backbone exactly? Let's break it down a bit, because when you see the pieces, you really understand why it forces such a dramatic shift in our thinking. This really gets to the heart of the shift. It feels like just yesterday that tech was an IT department issue, right? An operational cost you try to manage. Now, it's a strategic resource, every bit as vital as the power grid or the financial markets. If your digital backbone fails, your company doesn't just have a bad day. It stops existing. And this infrastructure is built in layers, kind of like a cake. At the very bottom, you've got the physical world, the actual data centers and fiber optic cables buried in the ground. On top of that, you have the immense computing power, the cloud platforms, and specialized AI hardware. That layer runs on data, which needs its own platforms and rules. And then at the very top, you have the AI systems, making more and more of the decisions for all the layers below. A really powerful way to think about this is not as some dead machine, but as a living organism. The AI is its brain. The connectivity, the networks, that's its nervous system. The cloud is its heart, constantly pumping power through the whole thing. And the most important part, governance has to be its conscience. All right, now let's talk about the real accelerant here, the catalyst for all of this, AI. Because AI isn't just another layer in the stack. Oh no. It is fundamentally changing the nature of how digital stuff gets made. Think about that electricity analogy again. It wasn't just for light bulbs, right? It was a general purpose force that reorganized everything it touched. That's AI today. It's being woven into every single layer of this digital backbone. What we're actually witnessing is a whole new phase in economic history, the industrialization of digital. We're moving from a world where humans painstakingly craft software, like artisans, to one where massive automated platforms just produce digital capabilities on an industrial scale. And this is where it gets really mind-bending. Just stop and think about this for a second. We are building software whose main job is to write, manage, and operate other software. We're automating the act of creation itself. That's what makes this moment so different and, frankly, so powerful. But with all this incredible power and blinding speed comes a huge problem. A really dangerous gap is opening up between what this new backbone can do and our ability to actually control it. And here is the core of the problem. It's a fundamental mismatch in speed. Our systems of rules, ethics, and laws, our governance, they evolve slowly, right? Step by step. But digital tech, and especially AI, it doesn't do steps, it does exponential leaps. And that difference in speed creates this persistent, ever-widening governance gap. And the risks that are filling that gap are enormous. We're not just talking about a server going down. We're talking about cyber attacks that can cripple entire industries. We're talking about a dangerous over-reliance on just a handful of giant cloud companies.
And we're talking about these profound questions, like who's actually accountable when an AI system makes a catastrophic error?
So you see, this completely elevates the problem. This is no longer just a worry for some company's IT department or even its board. The stability and control of the digital backbone has become a central issue of national security, of economic strategy, and of geopolitics. So, if that's the world we live in now, what does it demand from our leaders? What's their new responsibility in this completely new era?
The answer is crystal clear, and it's totally non-negotiable. Governing technology can't be delegated down the chain of command anymore. It has to be a primary, core responsibility at the very highest level of every organization. We're talking in the boardroom itself. The days of a leader saying, "Oh, I'm not a tech person," are well and truly over.
And this means leaders have to start asking a completely new and frankly much harder set of questions. Things like, how resilient is our digital foundation really? Who is accountable for our AI? And what are its ethical boundaries? Are we way too dependent on a single provider? And maybe the biggest question of all, in a world this automated, how do we build and maintain trust? Ultimately, this isn't a problem we're going to solve in the next quarter. Just understanding this digital backbone is the first step, but learning to govern it, and maybe most importantly, learning to define its limits, that is going to be one of the single greatest leadership challenges for the foreseeable future. So we're left with this final thought. For decades, the whole race was about innovation, right? About what can technology do? But that question has completely flipped on its head. The real challenge now is one of choice, of ethics, of foresight. It's about deciding what we will, and just as importantly, what we will not allow our technology to do.